The second part of this lesson is going to be on creating a title block and turning it into a template, so we only have to do it one time. And we're going to actually do that instead of in model space. We're looking at model space, which is virtually an infinite amount of drawing space where you're just kind of zooming in and zooming out. Now we're going to kind of look at it on what we call paper space. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump into, on the bottom you see the tabs for the different layouts, and you can add even more layouts. It starts you out with layout 1, layout 2. You can add more, and we may do so later. Let's go ahead and let's click on layout, and we have to give it a second. It's going to open up a different viewport. My computer's a little slow here. See if it opens here shortly, hopefully. Now we're open. As you can see, this is obviously a piece of paper. The dotted line shows you kind of the printable area of that paper. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw our title block inside of this drawing area here, and then we'll save it as a template. First thing I need you to do is make sure that in your layers your title block is turned on. We're going to use our title block layer. We'll switch that in a little bit, but we'll start with that. The other thing I want to make sure is we're going to right click on layout just to make sure that we've got the right plotter set up to it. So go to page setup manager, and a dialog box should open up just as layout 1. Let's go ahead and modify that and make sure we're all set up so that it'll plot out the right way. Give this a second to open up. This basically opens up your print dialog box, and mine once again is going nice and slow. Alright, and here's the print dialog box or page setup box. What we need to do is make sure we pick the correct plotter, and we're just picking the one in room 29, making sure that we are on landscape down below and that it pulls up letter. This way we know the plotter can only print an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So we need to create our layout to match that. Eventually we'll make one to match a larger sheet. But for now, let's just stick with this. So we can go ahead, click OK after you have that taken care of. Make sure it's once again landscape and the right plotter is picked room 29. Click OK. We can go ahead, we can close out of this. We're going to go ahead, pick a rectangle, and we're just going to draw the outside of our border lines here. I'm just going to pick in the corner inside of the dotted line and start pulling my rectangle out. Pull it out a little ways and let go, and now I'm going to give it some dimensions. After I let it go, I'm going to do a relative entry, so I'll click a shift 2 for an at, and then I need to go along the x-axis. I'm going to go a total of 10 1/4, 10.25, comma, and on the y-axis I'm actually going down because I started in the upper corner, so I need to do a negative. We're going to do 7.75, and you can hit enter, and you get your basic border lines all the way around it. I've got my line weight off right now, but this is a really heavy thick line. As you can see, it's not quite centered in here, which is fine. You can easily grab the move icon over here. If you want to move it, pick the object you want to move, hit enter, kind of pick down, and we can center it a little bit more, but otherwise you should be fine with the way it is. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to offset our line. We're going to create our title block over on the right hand side. So first thing I'm going to do is actually explode this box a second so that I can offset single lines at a time. So I explode the box. Now I'm going to go to offset, and I'm going to create a 3/4 offset, 0.75, and I'm going to offset the right hand side in, so I get my 0.75 title block on that right hand side. Next thing we're going to do is offset our top line down, and we're going to create a few boxes here along the side. So what I'll do is I'll grab an offset, and our first offset is going to be 2.5 or 2.5. Type 2.5, enter, and I'll pull my top line down. Now I can quickly go ahead and trim that line, get rid of the extra, that way when I offset the next couple lines I don't have to trim those. And I'll go back to offset. Our next offset is going to be 3 inches down, so I had a 3 enter, drop this line down, and then we've got some real small boxes that we'll be putting in here. So once again, get back to our offset command. The next few boxes are 0.5, just ½ inch, so do 0.5, enter, click 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, and that should leave us with a little larger box at the bottom. That'll be actually a 0.75 if everything turned out right. So once again, we've got our border lines, our title block all set up here. Now we just need to kind of add our text inside. Some of our text will stay the same always. Some of it will change up as we go. But first thing we're going to do is, we don't want to write our text in the title block layer. Let's go to the dimension layer for our text and switch over to dimension layer. Instead of using end text, because we've got to rotate our text, our text is going to run with this title block, we're going to do a dtext, D-T-E-X-T, enter. And it just asks us for a starting point. I'm just going to throw mine out here just for now, and then we'll move it into the right spot. So let's pick a starting point here, and it really doesn't matter where I pick my starting point. It says specify height next after starting point. For this, we're going to use 0.15, so type 0.15, and this is for our larger text. Enter, and then it says angle of text. Let's make sure we angle it at 90 degrees, and then go ahead and hit enter, and now it's going to just allow us to actually type our text. And so the first thing we're going to type in, and we're going to put this kind of in that middle long box, and we'll see if mine loads here a second, taking once again a little bit of time to load. Now you can see our box popped up, and what we're going to type in that box is South, and make sure we do it in all caps, Christian, and we're going to hit enter, and we're going to put high school underneath it. But actually I'm just going to keep it as, I'm going to make just one box with South Christian. I'll make one with high school and place them separately. You notice it looks like it's not putting it up on an angle, but once you hit enter twice, it'll pop it at a 90-degree angle. So now we've got South Christian, and we'll add high school in a minute. We can just move it, go to the move modify command, pick what we want to move, hit enter, pick another point and drag it over, and we'll just put it centered in that middle box, and click, and we've now got it in there. Right underneath that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put high school. In our upper box, we're going to create, this will be where the name of the drawing is. So for now, because that's going to change every time, we still want to put text there. It's easy to go over it. But for now, let's just put release lever. Once again, release lever. And then underneath that, just put problem number and just give it a 3-100. So problem number 3-100, and you can abbreviate it PROB, problem 3-100. In these boxes over here, it might help to zoom in a little bit on these, so I'm going to zoom in because this font starts getting pretty small here in these. And once again, I'm going to create dtext, so I'll type in dtext. It asks me for a starting point. If you want, you could put it right in here. Just turn your O snap off so you don't grab a odd point. We'll put way in the upper corner. We're going to put really small letters, and those are going to be 0.05 in size. I'll hit enter. Angle of rotation for this we can do 0, and I'm just going to type in drawn by with a semicolon after, sorry, with a colon after it, enter, enter. And once again, I didn't pick a great spot there, so I'll just move it, highlight it, grab it, pull it in just a little bit. And then underneath here, you're going to put first initial, last name for yourself. A little bigger, don't make it 0.05. Make it about the size that'll actually fit in the box, so you might have to play with it a little bit. In the box below that, you're going to put the word date as a 0.05 height, and then you can put in larger height. You can go ahead and just put today's date in here. In the box below that, we're going to put the word scale, and then once again in a larger height, we're going to put 1 to 1, so 1:1. And then lastly at the bottom, you're going to put sheet on the upper corner at a 0.05 height, and then in a much larger height, we can just put 1:1, and of course those will change as we go, and that'll be all that we add in our title block. Once you're done with that, just pause for a minute and I will show you exactly how I want you to save that as we go, but I'll leave that for telling you in person.